First thing in this Meals of the Week video is going to be making focaccia bread squares. I am going to make them just a tiny bit different than my recipe calls for. Same ingredients going into the bread machine, but once I roll it out, I will be putting like the topping, the oil, the seasonings on, but I'm also going to add mozzarella cheese. Maria is having a couple of friends over tonight. I'm going to be doing some shrimp fried rice on the Blackstone, possibly some extra salmon, and I just thought that kind of like a cheesy bread would be really good because that's, you know, most kids like that, and I'm not exactly sure, you know, how I don't know how picky these girls are, so I just want to make sure I have enough options so they can fill their bellies. Okay, you'll have to excuse the background noise of the bread machine, but hi there and welcome. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life, and I do videos like this quite often where I just follow along my cooking for maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 days, just kind of all the things I make, whether it is a breakfast, a lunch, a supper, a dessert, just whatever it might be. I just kind of follow along and I just film it and share it with you guys. I also do a lot of vlogs where just kind of day in the life. Those usually include some food as well. And sometimes I do more specific videos like freezer meal prep or cranberry harvest or things like that. All right, another thing I'm gonna do today. All right, I need to get away from that a little bit. I picked up this cookbook at a thrift store for 25 cents a couple of weeks ago, and there was a recipe in here for a potato salad. Let me see if I can find it. So I'm going to get going on this recipe. I think I'm going to half it though, just because, you know, the first time you just never know. So I'm going to start by cooking up 4 potatoes and a couple of hard-boiled eggs. I'll still do 2 hard-boiled eggs because we love eggs and potato salad so much. So it's many hours later and I am rolling out the focaccia bread. I just turned off my bread machine. Whoa, sorry guys. I just turned off my bread machine and let it just sit there all afternoon while I was out running my errands and things. And now we're just going to roll this out. We're just going to stretch this a little bit more. It's kind of shrinking back, and I really do kind of want it to get mostly to the edges. There we go. At this point, I'm going to let the dough rise for about 20 minutes. What's the next thing here? Maybe 2 tablespoons of water. Oh, why did I do the water? I must, oh yeah, because I'm working up from the bottom. And a 1/4 cup oil. So 1 teaspoon salt I need to use. All right, so this is a recipe from some blog, Life, Love, and Good Food. Our cousin shared this recipe. What's going on there, Peter? That was a funny way to do that. Our cousin shared this recipe for salmon with us, and it...
With my arm, it's so hard.
It's so hard to do that?
Like, since... I don't know if it's like... Since I broke it, it's hard to squeeze it.
It's hard to squeeze since you broke your wrist? That was a long, long, long time ago. 3 years ago, wasn't it?
It's still hard.
Okay. Anyway, We're going to get some salmon in here, go look at the chicks. Peter's been wanting me to go look at the chicks, and that is going to give us some time for this to marinate. Maybe about a half an hour. For 15 to 18 minutes with the lid closed. Flip the salmon onto the grill to sear the top about 1 to 2 minutes. I came out here about 10 minutes ago to start getting the Blackstone hot. I'm going to be doing that salmon as well as shrimp fried rice, and I like to just bring out everything that I'm going to need when I'm using the Blackstone, and one of those things is a big cup of water for cleaning it afterwards. It really is best to clean it right away, and if you go in and you eat and the Blackstone cools down and then you have to try to get it hot again to clean it, it's just not very efficient at all. And then you end up forgetting, at least I do, and then it's the next day and it's even worse to try to clean. So it's best to just have everything you need, including a roll of paper towel I bring out. I have my some oil, I have the eggs for the chicken fried rice, just really everything that I'm going to need. All right, the first thing we're going to do is wipe down the top layer of the Blackstone here. And I like to do this just to be sure that I get the top clean and any of that oil that kind of sat on there from last time. I just want to get all of that off. Okay, you can see there's that oil coming off. All right, that's going to go into the garbage, and I'm going to put some fresh oil down. This would be such a perfect thing to do with a tripod. I could have my hands free. All right, there's a lot going on in here. So first I did put the rice down, then I put the shrimp down, and then the vegetables. I think I should have done the vegetables first because I forget. Just like last time, the vegetables are frozen and they really do need a little bit longer to cook. It should be fine. I did throw in about a teaspoon or so of minced garlic, and I'm just trying to keep this a little bit separate. Last time I did 1, 2, and 3, but since I have the salmon going over here, I guess I could have spread it out a little differently, but I didn't, so this is what we're doing. At some point, where's my soy sauce? And I know last time, oh, okay, I'll be in. And I know last time a number of people in the comments mentioned about fish sauce and oyster sauce and what were some of the other ones? Sesame oil. And quite honestly, I just do it with the soy sauce because I know that that's what my family likes. I have used some of those other sauces before, but they're just not our favorites. So this is why I do it like this, because this is what we like. All right, next time, Blackstone cooking is going to have to be done with the tripod. It's too hard to show all of it. Because even when I think I have everything I'm going to need, I realize there's things I forgot, and then I'm hollering into the house to ask for things. Yeah. All right, here's how everything turned out. Warren finished off the focaccia cheese squares and got them, I think, perfectly done. And then here is the shrimp fried rice. Oh boy. So there's the shrimp fried rice. And yes, I do put scrambled eggs in my fried rice. Can you guys see the little bits of egg? There's some egg, and I think somewhere there's some egg. And then here is the salmon. And the salmon I cooked it the skin side down, and then I flipped it so it would sear this side, and then the skin side was almost just kind of like totally burnt. So you just peel it right off, and it peels off really easily. I also decided to serve up the potato salad that I made earlier today, and we thought that the dressing seemed really zingy, so I actually added a little bit of mayo to it. Haven't tried it since, but we're gonna give it a try. Saturday morning, and I thought I would make these little cherry danishes again. I had some leftover pie filling from the last time I made these. I popped that in the freezer, and when I was in the freezer last night, I was like, you know what? I should thaw that. I have a can of biscuits and just make those for breakfast. Everybody liked them last time, and it's just a good way to get this pie filling used up and get it out of the freezer.
There's some European starlings out there.
Are they? I also make some scrambled eggs. Actually, I was going to make an omelet, and then when I went to turn it over, it broke. So it turned into scrambled eggs with cheese and onions and some little sausages on the side. At this point, I really don't have any kind of meal plan. I have a couple things in the back of my mind that I wanted to make. One is I wanted to pull out one of the pork roasts. They call it an unsmoked, no, what do they call it? A fresh ham. I wanted to pull one of those out again. We did that like back in October or something. I think it was just so delicious. I want to make that again. And then I would like to do some what we call Swiss steak. Some people just call it kind of like steak and gravy. I pound out the venison real thin, dredge it with some flour, dry mustard, salt and pepper, and then just kind of quick pan fry that. I actually may even do that on the Blackstone. I could do all of it at once. That would be really, really smart. And then I put it into a crock pot with some water, and it just kind of makes its own gravy as it cooks down over the course of a day. I also am pulling out some cheesy potatoes with ham. Now, since I need some hamburger buns to go with those brat patties, and I don't have any like in the freezer, I'm just going to mix up my soft sandwich buns recipe here, and I'm going to try to rush it a little bit. I'm not going to use the bread machine. I'm going to use my KitchenAid. I just have better luck using the bread machine. Anyway, I have some milk and the yeast in here, and I have some sugar and salt, a couple tablespoons of butter, an egg, and the bread flour. And it's 3 3/4 cup of bread flour. Whoops, plug it in. Plug it in. I took the dough out. I kneaded it a little bit by hand, just adding in a little bit more flour because it seemed to need that. And then I just sprayed the bowl that I had mixed it in, and I'm going to cover this and put it on top of the stove. The stove is nice and warm right now. That's going to help this the dough to rise a little faster, and so that I can get those like basically shaped. and rising for their second time so that I can get them baked so we can actually have lunch at a reasonable time today. So I just shaped the hamburger buns here. If you want them to be perfectly round, you can like flatten out the dough into a circle and then use a biscuit cutter. I don't normally do that because you end up with scraps, and I would rather just use up all of the dough rather than have some scraps. So in the oven is the cheesy potatoes. That has taken a really long time in the oven at 350 degrees. I think I put that in at about 10:45. It is now 1:45, and it is finally, I would say, just about done. So just so you know, if you put casserole in from frozen, it is probably going to take like 3 hours. I thought for lunch that we would grill some of the brat patties, but I think we're just going to skip it since this casserole has ham in it, and Maria and her friends decided to pack like a picnic lunch and to go outside and do that. So it's just Warren and me, Joseph and Peter eating lunch. I think this is going to be just fine to do the cheesy potatoes with the ham on the bottom. That's going to be plenty for us. Good morning. Tonight for supper we are having a fresh ham roast. So this is basically just a pork roast. When I first got them from the butcher and they were unsmoked ham roasts, I really had no idea what I would do with it, but I just shaved off a little bit of the top fat and then replaced that with some cream of chicken soup fat, basically. I did sprinkle on a heavy sprinkle of this Ultimate Steak and Roast rub, and that was it. And then the cream of chicken soup and about a half a can of water I poured down along the edges. I have this set at 8 hours on low. I think I'm going to change that because I don't really know what time we're going to be home today. I just want to make sure it just keeps going on low. So I'm going to put it at 10 hours, which takes us to 9, let's see, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's going to be plenty of time. I just want it to go on low until we get home and until I get mashed potatoes and things made. So we're home now. We went and spent the day over with Emily and the kids. That was super fun. Oh my goodness. We viewed the solar eclipse. It was cloudy here today, but we had a lot of peaks of sun throughout that like 2.5 or 3 hours. And so every time that the sun would pop out, we would run outside with the Warren's welding shield. It was just so much fun. Our grandson was, well, he was like literally over the moon for it. He was just squealing and screaming, "Grandma, the sun is coming out. Grandma, the clouds are going away. Come, 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 come." It was so sweet. Okay, so we're going to do mashed potatoes. I checked the pork roast. It is completely cooked through. As soon as I get these potatoes on to boil, I'm going to head down to the basement freezer and see if I can get some corn. All right, I went down. I found the corn that I wanted, and I thought I'll bring up a couple packages of zucchini and then also a couple tubes of ground beef. I think we'll do some burgers sometime this week. I don't have a plan necessarily for what day. There's kind of, I mean, this pork roast is big, and so, I mean, that's going to feed us tonight, and then, well, there are going to be 7 of us tonight. Yeah, that we should have some leftovers of this for sure. We'll eat that up tomorrow probably for lunch, and then I do have my venison mini roasts. Remember, I thawed those as well. I'm going to slice those and pound them out, get those on the Blackstone, and then get them in the crock pot. And they make like a gravy, just one of our favorites. Such a good way to make venison and to eat venison. So that's probably going to be like tomorrow. And then I thought I brought up this ground beef here. I'm just kind of thinking through all of this. This is a lot of times how I cook. I mean, I do like making a meal plan and I like putting everything down, but I don't know, it just seems like whenever things get kind of busy and we have a lot going on, I really don't like to have things planned for too far in advance, because then I end up with too much meat thawed and not enough time to cook. So if we're going to be home more, I like a meal plan, if we tend to have like a lot of things pulling us away, I like to just kind of like go day or 2 day at a time. So this is my regular zucchini chocolate chip muffin recipe. I did double it, and then I probably put in about...
7 o'clock, let's jump.
Okay, and then I probably put in 3/4 of a cup of my sourdough discard. I did that last time. You honestly, you don't even taste it, I don't think. It's just a great way to use that up, again, because you just don't want to waste that flour and whatever. So that is what I've been doing. These always turn out great, these muffins do, and everybody loves them.
It shows a clip of you being 10 doing it and smiling. Then it shows a clip of you like 100 years old and you're like,
Still reducing, huh?
oh, it was 1 the whole time.
All right, Maria is working on reducing fractions right now, and I am baking. So I am going to be making banana snack cake. This is the recipe in cookbook number 1. I'm pretty sure this is 1, isn't it? Yeah. Cookbook number 1 on page 50. I will not be putting the frosting on. I actually really like this brown sugar. It's a cooked brown sugar frosting. My family thinks it just makes the cake too sweet, so I'll probably either just serve it as is, almost almost kind of like a muffin in a cake pan kind of a thing, you know what I mean? Just slice it into little squares. Anyway, look at these bananas. It has been years, I think, since bananas have gotten to that point in our household. Usually Joe polishes off the bananas, but lately he has not been into bananas so much, so that's why I have these. So we're going to start with a 1/2 cup of shortening, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of white sugar, and we're going to cream this. All right, let's just scrape the bottom.
Please wash that out.
And we're going to put in the bananas now. Sometimes if you're trying to use a banana that's not as soft as my bananas here, you may want to mush them with a fork a little bit first. These bananas are so incredibly soft that I don't even need to do that. I just put them in like this and let the mixer mush them up. All right, I have to mix up the dry ingredients, so I'm just mixing it in here because this pitcher I keep on my counter. 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon each of baking soda and salt. And we'll just mix that up quickly. And now I need to have some buttermilk, and I don't have any, so I like to just add a splash of vanilla. I need a 1/2 cup, so that was about maybe a 1/2 tablespoon. And we're going to add some milk. And then as soon as you add the milk, you can kind of see the milk almost kind of like coagulate a little bit. So that means it's kind of like becoming buttermilk. All right, so I need to add 1/2 of the dry ingredients here. Then I'll add in that, like, my buttermilk, and then I will add the other 1/2 of the dry ingredients. I'm going to roughly chop these walnuts. This is about a 1/2 cup or so. I'm going to scrape the edges of the cake mixture. Oh, I just got my sleeve in it. Get the nuts in there. And then just mix it gently. All right, that's enough. Scrape all that banana-y goodness off of the beater. Kids, you need to be doing your schoolwork.
Yeah, that's what I tried to tell Peter.
Peter, don't bother Maria right now. She's trying to get her math done. Right? You are trying, right? To get it done?
I am.
All right, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees and grease. Do I need to flour this? No, just grease a regular size cake pan, 9 by 13. And this has to go into the oven for about 30 minutes. The other day I did the soft sandwich buns, and I think I completely forgot to show any more footage of that. I mixed it up in my KitchenAid instead of in the bread machine. And then I did have to do a little bit more kneading with a little more flour. Maybe now that I say that, maybe I already told you guys that. Anyway, I baked those up. I had to rush them a little bit so they didn't rise quite as much as I had wanted them to. But you know what? They're gone. And we want to do some burgers on the Blackstone tonight. And so I'm going to do the herbed sandwich buns this time. It's been a while since I've made these. I really do like these. I hope that everyone else is good with these tonight, because this is what I want. I really love the fact that they've got like the cottage cheese and the Parmesan cheese in here and the Italian seasoning. It just makes for a really, really delicious hamburger bun. Let me just show you the recipe there. This also, this is in cookbook number 2 on page 37. So I'm going to get started with the milk. That's a 1/4 cup of milk. And this is a 1/4 cup of hot water. That kind of mixes together with the cold milk and just works out okay. And you know what? I need an egg. And we need 2/3. This is like one of the secret ingredients here. 2/3 cup of cottage cheese. And 1/4 cup of some shaky cheese. 3 tablespoons of sugar. I like to actually do scant tablespoons. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And then I need 3 cups of bread flour. I may not quite have enough here. Well, maybe. If I don't have enough, then I just use all-purpose unbleached. Looks like 1, 2, ooh, a little too much there, and 3. Okay, we actually still have almost another cup. 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. About a 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic, or I have just regular ground garlic there, and then a little bit of basil. I label the tops. Oh, but this one is a black top. I do like to keep a silver Sharpie around, but sometimes they get taken. I use the silver Sharpie to mark the tops of the black lids. So just a little basil, a 1/4 teaspoon. As I get the bread machine started, I need to saute up about a 1/4 cup or so of onions in some butter. So I'm getting my butter melted here. Banana snack cake just came out of the oven. 30 minutes was just right. It's nice and done. And I'm not sure if I'll sprinkle a little powdered sugar over this or just serve it as it is. Like I said, you can put a frosting on here. You know, a cream cheese frosting would be really good. Maybe actually my family would really like that. Maybe I should do that. Ooh, now now I'm kind of second guessing myself. Otherwise, this is almost just like a banana muffin served like a cake. I just came in here. The hamburger bun dough is all done. This is one of the best smells. There's something about that garlic in there and that sauteed onion. Just smells so good. I put just a little bit of flour down on the counter. And now I'm going to get these formed into hamburger buns. The recipe says 10 hamburger buns. I'm pretty sure if I remember right, this makes more than 10. This is so soft. Let's just see. All right, I'm greasing my pan here, and then I will just put these hamburger buns out there. Before covering them, I always like to just press them down flat. So, because my hope is always that instead of rising as more of like a dinner roll, you know, real big and high, I'd rather have them kind of, you know, I like them a little bit flatter. I'm trying to go for the look of an actual hamburger bun. And sometimes, if I don't push them down flat enough, they end up rising, and then they just sort of look like a little round ball. Warren stopped in and I asked if he would like the banana cake with or without frosting, with or without cream cheese frosting. And he's like, oh, everything is better with cream cheese frosting. So I only had a little over a cup of powdered sugar. So what I did is just make about a half recipe here, which is going to be just plenty. What I'm going to do here, I'll show you. I'm just putting it in this Ziploc bag, and then I'm just going to pipe on kind of like some stripes. And there she be. There's my finished banana snack cake. I have 3 pounds of ground beef here tonight, and then my hamburger press, and I have my little patty papers. I have my amazing burger seasoning here. I get this at Aldi. There's so many burger seasonings, and I find that most of them are really, really good. Alright, burgers on the Blackstone. I keep this thing cranked up to high. And I've got my cup of water here for at the end when I clean it. I got my little squirt bottle of oil so I can oil the top before going in. That's what keeps it from getting any kind of rust on it. And then I have my paper towel right there. It took a little bit to kind of get onto the system of the Blackstone, but now that we have it, it's awesome.
We're having hamburgers.
Burgers are finished up. I put some cheese on some of them. Warren pulled the rolls, or the hamburger buns, out of the oven. They look really good. We have some lettuce and pickles, and some canned pears. Joe, did you want ketchup or mustard or something?
Ketchup.
Okay, well then get some ketchup and put it on there. And then I have some potato salad left here.
You got me.
You don't like potato salad? There you go. Tonight is a get home and get back out the door kind of rushing night. Joe and I have to go to a class that he is starting, and it's a long way away. So anyway, we had the leftover burgers from last night, a cutie, and I warmed up a can of pork and beans. We also have some chips. He's going to take a bag of chips there, and that is going to be supper tonight.
Pink and green.
Okay.
I was like, hey, you guys must have gone to Aldi too. And then they had a bag.
I just pulled one of my crock pots. I have 3 crock pots plus like a little mini one. Anyway, I pulled one out and look at that. I'm just glad that I lifted it up the way I did. And I felt something rough under my finger. I was like, what is that? And there we go. So, all right, well, that's an unfortunate situation. All right, I just brought out the 4-quart. I'm pretty sure everything's going to fit in here. So I'm going to put the onions there on the bottom. Come on, last onion. I'm going to go get the Blackstone heating up so that I can quick fry the meat outside on the Blackstone. It'll keep the smell out of the house. It'll keep the smokiness out of the house, and I can do it all at once. All right, I finally remembered to get my tripod set up for this. So let me give you the rundown. It's nice and hot. Paper towel. All right, I like to clean off the oil from the last time. You know, there could be a bug that gets underneath the lid or whatever. All right, now I'm just going to put a little bit more new oil on and start to put the meat down. And since this is all going into the crock pot when I get in, I just took my liner out of here. I'm going to put all the meat right back in there, transfer it into the house that way. And I'm not trying to cook this meat through. I'm really just trying to get kind of a sear on it. I probably should have let it warm up a little bit longer. I was kind of antsy. What?
What you making?
I'm doing like Swiss steak for supper, you know. Alright, this is the last few to go here. Like I said, I'm not cooking these all the way through, just browning them nicely. Just really adds to the flavor. Still on high. Okay, now I'm going to start pouring some water on. Watch out, the steam gets pretty hot. Well, I suppose I should back out for you guys so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Alright, so I poured the water on, I let it sizzle up, scrape around. I'm going to oil it. All right, my battery is giving out right now, so if you guys miss, you can know that this is what I'm doing. So I just want to talk you through this really fast before my battery quits on me here. Just paper towel the oil all the way around. And this prevents any rust from building up. Get it into all the cracks. And you don't want too much. You just want a thin, thin layer. All right, that's it. That's all going to go into the trash. Shut off the tank. Okay, let it cool down. Put the lid on. And put it back where it goes. I'm going to make another meal for today. We're going to do tacos. Peter is having a friend over. They're working at editing a video for a talent show, and so a bunch of homeschool kids put together like a homeschool stereotypes. They did a bunch of filming and everything, and I haven't even seen any of the footage, but anyway, they put that together and they wanted to know if I could help them with some editing, and I said yes. So one of the boys is coming over today and they're going to work on that, and I figured I should probably have something a little bit substantial for lunch. What I wanted to do okay, I'm back. So anyway, what I wanted to do today, because it's just kind of dreary, cloudy. It was raining this morning. I wanted to just do canned chicken noodle soup and then make some rustic mini loaves, or the crusty mini loaves, whatever. I haven't made those in a while. I know Peter loves those. I figured probably his friend would too. It'd be a great lunch. But then by the time I got the Swiss steak going over here, I just didn't have time to get the dough going for the bread, and I thought tacos always make boys happy. So we're gonna do tacos here. I have 2 pounds of venison, and I'll be adding in this can of refried pinto beans. This was a new brand. I actually picked this up at Dollar Tree. I opened it. They smell wonderful. So anyway, tacos. Yeah. Okay, just a second. I just want to get these potatoes cut and then I'll be over there. So this is how the meat turned out. It actually kind of starts to fall apart because it gets pretty tender. And then I just made it with some mashed potatoes, and we're having, well, broccoli and cottage cheese. Well, good morning. It's early and I'm getting these ham beans, 15 bean soup, ready to go here for tonight's supper. We do have to eat a little bit on the early side, so I'm getting us started doing the quick cook method that it shows on the back. So rinse the beans, bring them to a rapid boil in 10 cups of water, and boil them for 1.5 hours. It's a couple of hours later, and now I just put the ham bone in. There are some other things I'll be adding to it, but we actually need to make some lunch. So we're going to be warming up the taco meat and the Swiss steak from yesterday's meals for today's lunch. You're fine.
That I have a picture of. So I forgot. So like, once you put the thingy down, that's what happens.
You divide again.
Yeah, but like with what?
The number on the outside. I just picked the meat off the ham bone that I had put in here, and I just like let it simmer for, I don't know. It was probably simmering for a couple hours, maybe not quite that long. Anyway, there was not very much meat on there. Warren told me that he had sliced the ham off on off of it on Easter down to the bone, and he was not kidding. But I'm just going to get that ham stirred in. So it's not super hammy soup, but I tasted it. It tastes, it has a lot of good flavor, and it's almost kind of like a calico beans, it seems like to me. So what I am going to do to add a little bit more meat to it is I have some of those Costco bacon bits. I'm just going to quick kind of pan fry those a little bit, crisp them up, and throw them in here. And I think that's going to add a little bit extra kick of meat to it. I actually just had the Aldi bacon bits. I guess I was out of the Costco ones. I didn't even crisp them up. I actually like the Aldi bacon bits better than the Costco ones. The Costco bacon bits just seemed a little bit more gristly or something, and so crisping them up worked really well, but I'm not doing that with these because they don't need it. That is going to be supper tonight. That was some crackers and probably some fruit.
You want to talk about old food? They don't even make these anymore. These were in a fanny pack in the camo cabinet. They haven't had this packaging in probably, what, 20 years?
I don't even know. Actually, we can look at the date. It's from 2014.
Okay,
10
so
years.
10 years, and
That is so funny. That is so
I
funny.
would throw both those away. Do not eat.
Yeah, I would not eat that stuff. Actually, we'll give it to the chickens. They'll like it.
But it's so soft.
Isn't that crazy?
That's how you know it's not real food.
Yeah, a packaged granola bar from 10 years ago, and it's actually still feels very chewy. Okay, well, they are getting ready.
Called chewy.
They are getting ready for the youth hunt tomorrow and going through some old fanny packs, obviously. Okay, well, I'm going to make chocolate chip blondies. It's been a while, and I just needed something that didn't really require much brain power. And this is pretty much it.
It's still good.
Yes, it is. The turn of the century honey is when it goes. The dry ingredients are 1.5 cups flour, a half teaspoon baking powder, and a half a teaspoon salt. Yep.
You got a good egg too. They had jelly beans or chocolate. 2 trees.
A lot of types of beans. You are exactly right, Maria. And it's a little bit, I would call this calico beans. It's not overly soup-like.
Yeah, I call it the beans overpower everything else.
When you make these blondie bars, you only want to bake them until they are puffed, shiny, with a few cracks. If you go too long waiting for them to look like they're more set up, what'll happen is when they cool, the edges will be almost too hard. So just like 18 to 20 minutes. These went 20 minutes. They were in a light colored pan, but if you normally bake like in a non-stick or something, a darker pan, probably going to only have to go 18 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me in this extra long video today. If you are interested in any of my recipes, many of today's recipes are found in my cookbooks. I have 2 volumes that I have put together, each with 150 recipes, and those can be found at my website, acountry-life.com/shop, or check the links in the description box below. Thanks for watching, you guys. Have a wonderful day. And remember, a great way to love your family is with some good food.